This is the Amp Hour Podcast. Released May 22nd, 2023. Episode 633. Engineering Optimization.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble from Contextual Electronics. And welcome to the Luddite Hour.
It's Dymo, damn it.
It's Dymo. So I was telling Dave before the show, my buddy was at a car show and there was this very quote unquote realistic DeLorean that was there, and I was like, actually, the labels don't look correct inside of the flux capacitor and on top of the time meter, so it's not. Yeah, so yep. Very big nerd moment there. But then Dave and I were wondering, like, what are those labels called? We didn't know what the name of it was.
Yeah, and I tried to get out Noel, but it turns out it is actually a Dymo, but I remember them as maybe there was some other brand here in Australia, maybe, right. And that's why I'm thinking of it.
Right, and if people don't know what we're talking about, it's like that plastic strip. It's an adhesive back, and then you pressed the letter through the plastic strip, and then because you were deforming the plastic, it made it a different color, usually like a lighter color, because the plastic was deforming, and that's the look that we all associate with this thing.
Embossed look, so they call them an embossing labeler or
tape,
embossing
tape
labels, embossing tape or whatever. Yeah. And they were always horrible. Like they were always, they would crack and they would fade. They were brittle. The adhesive sucked on them. But it was a thing, right? It allowed you to make labels on the spot, and it was magical. Yep. And we just found out you can still buy them. Dymo sell a new. I'm going out and buying one straight after the show.
Getting that look, that vintage look,
that old school embossing. Because I hate the modern. Have you got a Dymo label printer, one of the new, plastic tag ones?
I have one. Yeah.
And they're just...
they're great for like... I actually really like the ones where you can like label cables and stuff like that. There's like certain ones where you can like go... You can go vertical and then like label a cable. If you get the certain type of wrap, you can label a cable and stuff. Like it is super useful. All the stuff they make is super useful. But it doesn't have that certain something where it doesn't fall off at some point, And
I find it's one of these like really low end, like they practically give them away, right? They're like $20 for this label making machine. You get them in the local supermarket, right? They give you a label making machine. You're actually buying the tapes, right? That's what you're really buying. And they almost give you the label maker for free, right? And they're built down to a price. Like they must manufacture them for like $8 or something. Right, they're like so cheap, and like when you use the thing, like the LCD fades, like they haven't even got a voltage regulator in there. I don't think so. The LCD fades when you push
you're talking about the newer ones,
it's
right? Like you're talking about the newer ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you can buy like the higher end, expensive industrial ones, and they're great, right?
Sure,
but the cheap ones, which is all I'm ever going to buy, because I'm not doing labels in volume or whatever. If I do, then I'm doing like a production facility, paper labels or whatever, or I'm doing my, I'm using my desktop printer, Dymo printer thing. But, there's like handheld labels. Yeah, you just buy the crummy little machine, and they're all just dinky little things, and the user interface is horrible, and oh, God.
Yeah.
But anyway, it do work, but barely.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just continue to be Luddites then, huh? Yeah.
Right. Go back to old school embossing.
Old school and embossing. Speaking of old school, I was enjoying the episode from last week. Microchip has new school as well, but hearing the about the hundreds of varieties of PIC 16s, I'm like, oh wow, that is
yeah. No, there's
like,
over 2,000.
2,000
varieties of 8-bit PIC micros.
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah, it's 2,000. Yeah.
So I had some things that I wanted to bring up with you because Steve's time is very valuable and I was not on that show. The first one though was mostly around the tooling stuff. So like he mentioned, like he thinks that people should still pay for tooling.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
first,
This is a big argument. This is all in the
first
comments. It's all over the
oh,
forum.
okay.
It's everywhere. Yeah,
So first
everyone's
question
talking
is,
about that. Right.
what do you have to pay for? I didn't realize that there were
Right.
so
Yeah,
many
no,
options.
it's right. People think you have to pay for the tools. You don't. All of the microchip tools are free.
Okay.
Okay. They're completely free. There's no limitations. The only limitation, the only thing you have to pay
Just your
for
imagination.
is fully optimized.
Uh-huh.
When you compile something, there's various optimizations.
Yeah.
How much code optimization do you want?
Okay.
And I think it's the first. Don't quote me, but like the first two levels of optimization are free. But if you want the highest level of code size speed optimization, that's
Hmm.
what you pay for, right?
How
So you're
much?
paying for because they do actually use the open source GCC compiler for the 16 and 32-bit micros, right?
Yeah.
Technically, you can go download it, right? You can go
Yeah.
download the compiler, and you can, it's kind of like hard to do, but you can do it. So yeah, but anyway,
Okay.
their tools are free, so they're just you're
So
paying for the
the
optimized
IDE is
thing.
free. So this is MP
Yes,
Lab.
this is
MP
the
Lab is
MP
free.
Lab thing. Yep,
Yeah, okay.
yep.
So that's free, but then if you want to get to so basically they're like gating a feature with the price thing. What do you know what it costs?
It's $49 a month, $44 a month, which
Oh,
is not a lot, right?
that's not a lot
Which
at
is not
all.
a lot.
Okay.
But the argument people are making on the forum is that, oh, I will refuse to use their tool because it's not an open source tool chain that I use. So I don't want to pay if I have to support a client for the next 10 years. I don't
Yeah.
want to have
That's
to
fair. Yeah.
pay. Yeah, very fair, right? I don't want to have to pay
I
to like monthly or whatever, or you can actually rent it for 1 month. You can just rent it for
uh,
1 month,
yeah, that's
do the update for the customer using the highly optimized, compiler setting, and then
what do
you
you do
only
if
pay
you
the
wanted to like
$44.
buy it, put it in your like your CI/CD tool chain, and like so that
Yeah,
every time you push a commit,
I
that's
don't know if you can do that. I don't know if you can rent it for a month and then take a
see
snapshot copy of it.
that's kind of a bugger. That's
Yeah,
bummer
I'm not
rather.
sure if you can do that. So I'm not going to
Yeah.
say if you can or you can't because I just don't know.
Mm,
Um,
yeah. Okay.
but
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
of course.
all right, so like I vacillate back and forth on paying for tools. Obviously, I'm very principled when it comes to ECAD tools, of
Right.
course. And
I
then
have no problem paying with
other
tool
times
paying
I'm
for
like,
tools that I use.
okay, like
Yeah.
really, like I look at my hourly rate. I'm like, all right, if it saves me an hour, it's like if it's less than the cost of an hour, it's literally a no brainer. It's like here's my credit card.
Well,
Uh,
$44, right, is less than an
sure,
hour of any
less than an
engineer's
hour.
time,
That's
right?
right.
It's 10 minutes of an engineer's time,
And that's
right?
what I'm sure that's what Microchip's banking on too.
Yes.
But I think there is a valid point in there of like not owning the tool and like expecting it to be part of your tool chain. Like
Oh,
that's more
totally.
significant. I think like that's a bigger
Yeah.
deal
No,
because
totally.
that's messing with you. Like there might be not be anyone to call at Microchip in 10 years, like the person mentioned on the forum as well. Like so
Right,
that
right.
is a totally legitimate argument.
Yep.
But I think that's separate from the should you pay it all. There's some people that are just like I won't pay for anything. It's like all right,
Yeah, fine. Go and use
but
something else. Yeah, but the
yeah.
thing is, it's free. Like how often I think Mike from Mike's Electric Stuff commented on the forum about this, and he said,
Mm.
"Well, I don't in the 20 years he's been using PIC micros or something. I don't think he's ever. I think I kind of well, I have to put up. I'll put up a link to the
Paraphrasing, you're
exact quote.
paraphrasing, yes,
Anyway,
of course.
he's saying I've never had to use. I've never. There's never been a case where that paid optimize, where that highest optimization setting, which is the one you pay for,
Uh,
has made or
yeah,
break
yeah, yeah,
a project because you can always
yeah,
rewrite your code in some way. If you don't want to pay for the massive
yeah,
optimization setting, well, just spend an hour optimizing your code a bit better,
yeah,
hand optimizing it. Like
yeah,
okay,
right.
fine.
Sure.
So
Yeah, so I think so other things that come in my mind around this is like, all right, so first off, it's a market system. You don't have to use their parts. That of
mm,
course comes with an extreme caveat of like, well, sometimes actually you do have to use it because your company says so, or you have
yeah, yeah,
legacy products built on it, yada yada yada. So like there is always the other thing there. And I think that's why they probably can do this. There is there is some lock in with vendors stuff like that. So they are there is just always lock in with choosing a particular vendor, and if they put a paywall in place, you're just going to pay the tax and move on, and it sucks. But
Well, I will
yeah,
actually say I do believe you can actually because as I said, these tools are free, right? And they actually use the GCC compiler, right? So if
hmm
you're doing the PIC 16 or PIC 32, I believe they use the GCC compiler, which of course
hmm
is free and open source, right?
that's right.
So you can snapshot that product and you can still use it in 10 years' time, even if Microchip go bust, right? They don't exist
Right.
anymore, right? You
Right.
can still
Yeah.
use that tool, no problems whatsoever. But
Right.
you may have to get a workaround if you want that highest optimization setting. And that's
Mm.
all it is. That's
Yeah.
literally all.
Right. Right.
Like
Yeah. And
I'd certainly be
that might be how
complaining.
people work around it with like a CI/CD anyways, right? So like, yeah.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
and
Well,
apparently the workaround is quite easy to get the
uh-huh.
highest
Uh-huh. Search the
optimization
EEV
setting.
blog forum. Dave won't say this, but I will. Search the EEV blog forum. I'm sure you'll find it on there.
I'm,
Yes.
I'm,
Okay.
I'm, I'm sure you'll find. But anyway, like I would be complaining, right, if the code was limited to a certain size, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you've got 128K part and the free tool only does 32K or something,
Yeah.
okay,
Right. Right. Right.
right? Yeah, I'd be complaining, or it only supports half of the peripherals,
Right.
or it,
And
you
this
know,
that
or
is historically how some of these tools did it too. Like
that is
I
how
think like
some of them have worked. Yeah.
Kyle did
Some of
it. Maybe.
Kyle did it. They all had
Yeah.
like free versions of the
I
tool
think
in
Code
Quote
Composer Studio
Marks.
does that too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch
They're
of them.
basically to the bottom of the range of the tools, and then
Yeah,
you gotta pony up.
AVR ones back in the day. I
Yeah.
think there was
Yeah.
another.
Totally.
Yeah, maybe that was a
Yeah.
third party one. I remember using that, and I had to fit it into the free code limit because I was too tight
Yeah.
ass to, you know.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
just
Yep.
yeah. And but that's the thing. There is no limit here. There's no size limit. There's no memory limits. There's no part
Mhm.
limitations. Right? You
Yeah.
can use every single part. It's all free. It's just the optimization. So I
Sure.
don't.
So
I'm
another
not
thing.
buying the complaints or that. Like I understand where people are coming from, and if it
Sure.
is a really huge problem for you, well, don't use Microchip.
I think
Okay,
that
but
yeah, that's
I
right.
think it's
Yep.
blown out of proportion. I
So I
just
think the other thing that about what Steve was saying is Steve also said, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. Steve said in the show, we think we should charge because otherwise it gets left behind.
it becomes
I
a
think
cost
that's
center. The term he used is it becomes a
yeah, a
cost
cost center.
center,
I
right?
don't think that's true though. Like this is it's a
No, I have no
yes,
reason to doubt him.
it's a marketing tool for other people as well, right? Like all of these things
Yeah,
are
yeah.
marketing tools, right? The reason they do it is because they want to make the developer experience easier to use their product. Whether or not they
Yes,
achieve it,
right.
arguable, but they are trying to make it so that you can they want you to get to Blinky as fast as possible. And God bless their hearts, they're trying, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
and that is a marketing cost. And Steve's right, it is a cost center, but I
Mm.
don't agree with the fact that like we have to charge in order to do that. Really, it's we
No,
have to
but
be at a
oh,
organizational we have to take a stand in an organization that this is something we prioritize. And he said, like, oh well, managers are gonna like trim the fat and that's gonna get rid of your tools. But that's a decision internally. And like
it
just
is.
saying that we have to
Yeah.
charge to do this is I feel like that's a false
Yeah,
equivalency.
but when a new CEO comes in, when a new manager comes in, what are they going to do? They are going to cut things. That is why they were hired. You don't change
But just
CEOs. You don't
charging
change
for it?
managers. Yeah,
Sure,
well,
but just charging for it's not gonna
okay,
stop it.
but it
You know
makes
what I
it
mean? Like
easier.
a hard charging CEO that's just charged with just there to like cut costs, $49 a month or whatever is not gonna change your tune either, right? It's not gonna
But if
pay
that cost
for
center
developers.
is making a profit,
Yeah,
they're not going to cut it, right? They have a
I
harder
don't
decision cutting it. It's also a
maybe a
mindset
harder
thing,
decision.
right?
I
It's
don't
also
agree with that.
no, no.
Steve saying he has been
Okay,
doing this for 31 years. He's the CEO of
that
Microchip. I am Chris, the lowly EE.
exactly.
I don't agree with it, but it doesn't mean I'm right. You know, like so that's I'm just
No,
saying I don't agree
exactly.
with that. I think
That's
it
what
is
I said on the forum. I
organizationally.
said, look,
Yeah.
he's been doing this shit for 31 years,
He
right? I'd
knows what
say
he's
he
doing.
knows
Like, yeah.
knows a tad
He
more than us
knows
about it,
what he's doing.
right? He knows a tad more than big company
I
politics.
don't agree with that generally. So
Okay, fine. Well, I think it's also a mindset issue, right? If you
yeah.
have the mindset issue that, oh, we're just gonna like leave it up to the open source community to do GCC, right? Even though we're doing our own tools, but if you don't keep up that seriousness, that gets into your mindset, and then you sort of like drift towards the point where, well, you go, well, let's just not bother putting much effort into our own tools
Yeah.
anymore. Let's just leave it up to the open source community. And,
Yeah.
like
I mean, so
that's
some of
where
this
it drifts,
some of this
right?
does touch near and dear to my heart, right? So like this is basically developer relations is what I do currently and what I've done in the past.
Mm.
And like one of the problems is like where do you stick someone like me in an organization? It's actually there's many blog articles about it because I cost money to go to conferences and I cost money to do all the stuff that I do. Fine, whatever. But me and people that are
everyone at home, Chris is talking himself out of a job here. He'll be unemployed next week.
Hey, you know what? I am very good at firmware now, Dave. So
right, okay, right.
Yeah, but I think it's legitimate because at my old job when I was in developer relations but part of marketing, like then it becomes a cost center, and it's like it's tougher to justify, right? And it's like I think the same thing goes with like, so like what we're talking about here broadly is like it's often referred to as developer experience, and it's usually people much smarter than me that can actually write tools, so like VS Code plugins and stuff like that. Where do you stick them? Do you stick them in the engineering org? Do you stick them in the sales org because it helps make sales? Do you stick them in the marketing org because it helps promote how easy it is to use your parts?
Yeah, sure.
I think it's really important to basically wall off that developer experience thing and commit to it, like you were saying, and say like,
Yes.
look, this
That's
is
right.
important
It's
to our
about
company.
seriousness. That's right.
It's about seriousness.
And I think at least trying to charge some money for it is your way of signaling to everyone that we're bloody serious about this.
I disagree with that because of the norms only. Like
fine.
That's a valid point, but I think the norms don't match that. But I see what you're saying about the seriousness. That part I can get behind at least. But
that is
I just
why
don't
I'm
think
not going to be critical of it. It is what it is, and if they want to do that, I don't really have a problem with it.
Steve can do whatever he wants at this point. Yeah, like we said, 31 years, But
this is why I don't, look. I don't see what the big problem is. I just don't get all the uproar about it.
The internet, Dave. I don't know if you know about
this. Yeah, because people want free shit. Okay, and everyone else is doing free shit. So Microsoft should do free shit. They are doing free shit.
Microchip.
It's all free.
Microsoft is not doing free. Well, they do some free stuff, but
dude, it's all free. Go and use the compilers. They're all free, right? It's only if you want some whiz bang optimized setting on the compiler that's what you pay for.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
All right. Cool.
I don't care if my code is
Dave's email address
7K or 8K. I don't
send complaints to hr@eevblog.com and that will go into the appropriate spam inbox.
I don't get it. Anyway, it's funny to see people. Yep.
Yeah. Overall, really great interview. I enjoyed hearing Steve. He was great. Glad he came on. So
it was great.
Get more folks like him.
Yep, it was. We were very lucky to get the hour because we had to I had to slot into his calendar. So yep.
Busy guy.
Yep, and we saved the audio just.
Yes,
I'm recording a backup this time.
Yeah, we started.
Started
backing up recording. So
Zencaster. I don't know.
Yep.
Works 99.9% of the time, and then the one big show that you do, the critical one you really want, and they it screws up. Yeah. Yep. Oh well. Yep. Anyway. Are we all calmed down now about tools?
I think so.
All right. Breathe in.
Let's switch into announcements real quick. KaiCon or KeyCon, whatever your chosen flavor is happening.
Dude,
again.
it's KeyCAD. We've been through this. You've even admitted it.
September 9th and 10th.
Are you still saying KaiCAD?
Coruña, Spain. I'm just going to ignore Dave here. Luckily, I'm the editor this week, so I can just blank him out.
Right.
Coruña, Spain, which is in the northwest corner of Spain. So yeah, there will be a conference. It's actually being run by the Services Corporation. That's Seth and Wayne, the two of the lead.
Oh, right, as in the KeyCAD Services.
That's right.
Division, I guess. Is that a thing?
That's right. Yeah, I mean corporation. Yeah, they're a company. So yep. There is a talk proposal now, and that'll be September 9th and 10th. I will not be there personally, but I will be at Embedded Open Source Summit, June 26th. I think about a month from now. Let me look at my calendar. June 26th to the 30th in Prague, Czechia.
Oh.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm excited. I've never been to Prague before.
Oh, yeah, I've heard it's nice.
Yeah, it's supposed to be very, very great. Yep. So, so that's like a combo of like the Zephyr Developer Summit and like Automotive Linux and a bunch of other stuff. So,
right.
Yep.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, that's it on the conference front. But on the automotive front, since we're talking about automotive there, I had a bit of a a fun interaction. Um,
Tell us.
so I posted our noisy CAN bus
Yes.
uh, episode from I think 2 episodes ago, and someone wrote back to me on Mastodon and said, "Never in my 30 years of working on CAN bus have I ever heard so many wrong things." And I'm like, who? I'm like, who is this joker? And then like there was an article that I was ready to talk about like the following week when we were supposed to record about this awesome thing
Yeah.
we're about to mention with the CAN bus. And I was going to mention it. I was like, oh my God, he wrote that article. I was like, crap.
Ah,
Anyways,
I don't
Ken,
even remember what we said about CAN. I don't even
we
remember
said
what.
it because we were talking about like I mentioned that like I was starting to work on some CAN stuff and just CAN's
Yeah.
really noisy. And Ken told me I'm wrong. And then he came on the show and told me how wrong I am, and in a very, very nice way. And so Ken will be the episode next week, so people
Right.
can hear it next week. A little teaser there. And this is the article that I was talking about. This was going on the internet, but it was basically someone who one of his friends, Ian, basically had seen that his headlight had fallen off, or like that someone
What?
had like peeled away the stuff from his headlight,
Oh, okay,
and
like a rubber seal or something, or
yeah, like or like the paneling, the plastic paneling,
right,
like just
right.
below the left headlight. And he's like, "What is going on here?" And like, did somebody hit me? But it was like on the side of the street, so it wasn't.
Right.
It was like something about it was like it wouldn't have been someone hitting him. And then he kept noticing it, and then he got a notice from his car that it had been stolen because there was some like there was some
Right,
kind
because
of
everything's
signaling.
monitored and
Yeah.
everything's right.
So
Yeah, yeah.
apparently, car thieves can now buy these devices on the black market, and they look like Bluetooth speakers, but they're actually CAN hacking devices that basically send a signal to your engine that say, "Hey, you've just been unlocked," and that's how they steal cars now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's first off, fantastic article.
Yeah,
I was going to mention
hang on,
anyways.
how do
Yeah.
they physically connect to it, though?
So they peel back the paneling,
Oh,
the
okay. Oh, right, so they
LEDs.
go
These
outside. Oh, okay, right. So they go through a
yeah.
headlight or they go through
So
the
the
tail
headlights
light
are
or
all
something like
CAN
that.
devices now, right?
They're
They
all
used to
bloody
just
CAN
be
devices. Oh
yeah,
god,
they
they
used to
used to
just
be
be like
yeah.
a light bulb, but now
Yeah,
it's got
yeah,
all these
right.
crazy microcontrollers in there, whatever, to
Yeah.
have different modes and
They've got a
brightness
micro
and
in
dimming and
every
like
single headlight. Yeah.
everything. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So we talk
Yeah,
about all
it's
that stuff
mad.
next week.
Right.
But first off, so people should be prepared. Go and read this article. I'm trying to find it now in our thing here. Is it so long ago? Did I not post it? Oh, I feel stupid
Yeah, I
now.
was just thinking that the other day, like, how does someone steal my Ionic EV? How do they steal it? Like, you would have to have
Oh,
some
like
serious hacking tools to sort of
yeah, so I mean, so basically, there's a message, like a canned message. So I think they block. Again, this is a question for the next episode that I will have not. I've already recorded when we're
hmm,
recording this one, so I can't ask any of the questions you're about to ask me. But I think there's like a blocking signal based on CAN bus that Ken talks about. He wouldn't tell me exactly what it was because he doesn't want to make it easier for people to make these devices and sell them for like five thousand
right.
dollars
Yeah.
or more.
Oh,
But it like
okay. So they're really
yeah,
expensive
they're really
tools.
expensive.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
Bluetooth. No, man, I don't know where this is. Anyways, I'll find it.
That's some serious investment on the part of the criminal. It's almost hats off to them. They've invested in the tools required
That's right.
to,
That's right. Right.
I've
Right.
got,
I'm making my.
I've
I'm
got to tip
improving
my
my
hat
career.
actually.
I'm improving my career.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the video. Here's the link in the chat, Dave.
I
But
certainly can't
basically, yeah.
fault
So
that. Yeah.
they're made for specific cars. They inject these. So basically, they block other devices from transmitting, and then they just
Yeah.
blast this unlock
Got
message,
oh,
and then
okay. So you can block so you can take over the bus,
yeah,
so to speak.
basically,
So there's some sort of command that goes, no, hey,
yeah,
I'm so mega important. Everyone
yep.
else shut up and listen to
And
me.
guess guess
Kind of.
what? Guess what's inside this Bluetooth device?
Yeah, one of those.
Pick 18.
Oh, pick 18. There you go.
Thanks, Steve Sangi.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, fantastic article. Really, really good stuff. So
Okay. Yes,
it's
this looks comprehensive. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
so
was
good.
gonna say, like, I assume that every car would be different. So any
Mm.
like universal hacking tool would have to be
Yeah,
programmed
right.
with, 100 different models or something.
Yes.
Would
And
that
we
be
do talk
right?
about that
Okay.
too, because so that's another thing so when in the art in the I bring this up again next week, but this is weird. This is like Back to the Future for me. But I brought up as well that like the reason it looks so noisy is most of the time you don't have the decoding keys for different manufacturers. So like you're saying, it's different car to car. Like it's different not just for what would unlock each car, but also what what like what the engine's different readouts are, like how they actually bit
Oh,
pack all
yeah,
these
yeah,
things. So,
yeah, totally,
yeah.
and they'll all use different smart keys, and they'll all use different, you
No,
know,
sure, sure.
uh,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
great article. I'd say read it before next week, and then Ken will be on, and it was a really good show. So
Cool.
excited
Alright.
about
That's
that. Yeah.
that sounds good. Alright.
Yeah. So what else should we talk about now that I've spoiled next week?
Alright. Well, what's on the list? Do we have anything
Oh, I
on
have
the
no idea.
list?
I have no idea. Actually, I have something that's not on the list. I was thinking
Oh,
about.
no, no, hang on.
Oh,
I will put a link to it. Hang on, let me get the link. But a former guest of the show, Vincent Himpy, who's
Vincent
done
Himpy. Oh,
the
Teslas.
3 hour show or
Oh
whatever,
yeah, our longest show to date. Yes,
our
that's right.
longest show to date, which we don't do
Yeah.
anymore because we do try to limit to them
Oh my
an
god, I
hour
was falling
because we
asleep during
know
that,
that
and it was like
people
2 in the morning my time too. It was like insanely late
right.
back when I was in Cleveland. That was a long time ago. Yeah,
Yep, and
yeah.
he has left Tesla.
Oh,
He was the former head PCB designer at
yeah,
Tesla.
yeah.
Spent 8 years there, and then he went to a space company who shall remain nameless. And then he's now looking for a gig. So if you want to hire the former head of PCB
We're doing
design at
job ads now.
Tesla.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
Didn't
he put a
you pay
job
up
out
for
on
this?
the EV blog forum.
Come
He put
on,
a
don't give
work
him
wanted.
free job ads. You know how much that's
Yeah,
worth? This is free
yeah. Hurrah, we
advertising.
should be paying for this shit. Yeah.
He should be
Charging
paying.
for this
Yeah,
shit. Yeah, you
yeah.
should.
I mean, I guess he did give us 3 hours of his time, so
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
we'll
yeah, true.
we'll put it
We'll
against his
cut
tab.
him some slack. Yep.
All right, cool. All
I'll
right, so
find the link
Dave will
and
put a
I'll put
link
it in
there.
here.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. I was thinking about what are the first things. So, like, I was thinking about reference designs, and like, I was rebooting up an old reference design, like dev board, basically,
Mm.
and like all of the things that you get on a dev board, and then like, okay, so now I go and put that chip. I've decided on that chip that I've tried out the dev board. I've tried all of these different things. I've talked to my firmware engineer. I've talked to everybody. Everybody's cool with it. I've started the design, and then what are some of the things? I was thinking about some of the things that like my past jobs have been, and probably what other people would be. But like, what are the optimizations that you have to do once you have decided? And maybe it's also part of the deciding process as well, I suppose, of like what chips to do and like what are you then optimizing for? So like power, but power, especially if you're on battery, cost if you're still
Well,
in the
I've
chip
done a
choosing
recent video
phase.
on this. This would be all part of your selection process. You
Mm,
usually don't go, well, I'm going to choose a microchip part and then figure out the lowest power micro
mm.
in the microchip. Well, you might. Some people might
Well, you
do that
might,
because they have the
yeah,
tools, the experience, or that is the company verified microcontroller, right?
sure.
And then you have to live within the constraints of,
Okay, so it's a
I've got right, I've got to use this
prior, right?
brand.
It's somewhere between the buying the dev board and doing the layout, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But even past that too, right? You might have other optimization through there. But I was just thinking about like all of the optimization exercises that you do have to do there. Like you said, yeah, part choice is a huge one. But then thinking about that also bleeds into power and battery, or sorry, power and cost.
Yeah, there's
I was also
cost,
thinking about like
there's
data.
availability, there's package.
I was thinking about data usage. That's something that might be a little bit later, I suppose, maybe in the firmware stage. I was thinking
What do you
about like
mean data usage?
if you were a cellular device, I've been doing a lot of cellular
Oh,
device
okay.
stuff,
Ah, right.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
So that's like an optimization as well. But other like very common ones you'd say. So your space, I guess space is a good one, right? Because that's often um,
Well, then you would go, do I have radiation hardened parts? Do I have extreme
mm,
temperature rated parts, for example?
that's a good one.
You know,
Yep. 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 Yep.
because
Yeah. Yeah. So like
not all
extreme, like you're in the
manufacturers
corners then,
offer
right?
extreme in industrial or larger,
Yeah. Yep.
temp ranges. So,
Yeah, that's a good
you
one.
know,
I would say
yeah, it's a
I was
big
thinking
deal.
like Keithley days as well, like specsmanship type stuff. So like, can I hit my? I guess in that case it was analog specs as well, right? That
Oh
was
yeah,
an
yeah. If you
additional
need a
optimization.
built-in analog to digital converter or DAC or something like that, is it one of those little crappy ones that doesn't meet that has crap specs, or is it, fairly
Right,
decent?
right. Or you building your
Yeah.
own, right? That's
Right.
stuff test
Right.
equipment does. I don't know, I was just thinking about like what as we enter this age of computers, computers, smart. I don't want to say the words. As we enter this age of fake smartness, is that good? We'll call it FS instead of AI. Um,
Yeah, because there's nothing really intelligent about artificial
right.
intelligence. It's
So like where are the value props of the like especially as like electronics become more accessible, which is good. That's what we want. So then the optimizations are the things that people are really getting paid for, right? So like an analog engineer is getting paid to get that extra, you know, effective bit out of the measurement
yeah, right.
circuit all the way through the thing, and the engineer at the toy company is getting paid to take another cent off the bomb because you multiply it by all the devices and it's like
Yeah.
a huge savings, right? So like what are the people getting paid? Well, the optimizations are what people are ultimately getting paid for as engineers, I think, because the ones that aren't doing that specialized knowledge, I think, are either going to, maybe there'll be some AI tools, fine, but probably more likely, just offshoring is
Yeah.
more likely. You can just go to any generic old dev house and just be like, I just need this thing that is a Bluetooth speaker. Okay, no big deal, right? Yeah, we know how to do that. And then it's just a race to the bottom. So the engineers, the optimization piece is really, that's what you're paying for, I think.
You are, but what's changed? Nothing's changed in the industry. Everything's still the same. This has been
I'd say
around since
the
day zero, you know?
I'd say the accessibility of offshoring is increasingly easy. Um,
Also, the accessibility of this kind of stuff that you work on. Like if you want to do something complex, like,
mhm.
talk to a cellular network and, you know, do all that sort of jazz, right? If you did that 10 years, if you wanted to do that 10 years ago,
That's
you
right.
were in a world of hurt,
You're in a world
right?
of hurt. That's right. Yeah, you're basically you're trying to get a hold of Qualcomm, and like
Yeah,
you may,
right.
or yeah, I
Yeah.
guess there was modems back then too, but like you're
Yeah. Yeah.
you're in AT command sets. You're not, more and more. So like ST has a new integrated cellular part as well,
Yeah.
right? Which is crazy.
Well,
And
I can
there's
just give you an
yeah,
example with my unfinished micro supply. Right,
sure.
it was with the USB C power delivery
Uh huh.
standard. Right, the power delivery standard back when we started that project, that was a difficult pain in the ass.
Yep.
Right now,
Yep.
it's just getting easier and easier and easier to integrate power delivery into your products. You can just buy a little 8-pin
Yeah.
Asian micro that just does this power delivery
Just
for
does
you,
it
and it's
right.
all handled.
Right.
Whereas we had to use a 32K ST micro part just to
Mm-hmm.
handle the power delivery thing, and then the
Sure.
library for that, the power delivery library from
Yeah.
ST was like 30K or something. It was
Right.
enormous,
Right.
and it was
Right.
just,
So
oh
so
my
I would
god.
say bleeding edge. In that case, that would be just like general bleeding edge. Not that you guys were not bleeding edge, but you were ahead of the
No,
curve, I
but we
think.
were
In
we
terms,
were
it wasn't
probably a
like off
year
the
or
shelf
two
silicon.
ahead of the easy
I
stuff. The
totally,
easy
totally.
stuff now, you can buy a chip.
Yeah.
You don't even need to program it. You can it just has pins on it, and you can just strap one of those pins, and it gives you a certain power delivery standard. It just does all the negotiation. It's
Yeah.
all
Just does everything
pre-programmed.
for you.
Does
Totally.
everything for you,
Right. Right. So how about
right?
this pre easily available silicon, or like a function in silicon or something like that, right? So like one of the examples I always give in that case is like how you can just buy an off the shelf thermocouple chip these days.
Hmm.
That's like really good, like really really good. And then I like point at the old Jim Williams app note where it's like you can just buy the silicon
Right.
equivalent of
Yeah, yeah.
what
Of
the entire
what
app
they
note
did. Yeah, yeah,
Jim Williams did.
yeah.
Right, exactly. And it's like, no,
Exactly.
and maybe it's a little bit better, but even still, like, or you could say like that extra, maybe the Jim Williams thing was still a little bit better than what you could buy today, but the leap from a piece of silicon and just plopping it down on a board and actually doing all the stuff that Jim does in app note 18 or whatever it is,
Yep.
it's significant. It's like it's a step change in terms of needs and capabilities, whatever. So like that's
Well,
definitely an optimization as well.
it is. This is just the continuation of something that's been going for 50 years, which is application specific ICs,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
If in the mid 70s or something, right, you wanted to
Mm.
do an
Boost
analog
converter.
VU bar graph, right? If you want
No,
to do
sure,
an
sure.
analog VU bar graph, right? There was a lot of stuff, a lot of
Yeah,
circuitry. You're designing an
sure,
audio
sure.
thing, and it's got
Thresholds
to
and
have a
diodes
graphic
and
analyzer,
yep,
or it's
yep,
got to have a sound level meter led bar graph,
yeah,
fancy pantsy, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then the LM3914 and 3915 came along, right? And
Mm, yep.
the 3914 would do linear, the 3915 would do log. I think I have that correctly if I'm remembering from 30 years or 40 years ago. You know, um,
His brain is aging, folks. He's
I'm pretty right. I reckon I'm right. LM
I bet you're right too. No, I bet you're right. I bet you're right.
Days memory test live. LM3914 is the analog, and LM3915 is the
There's a
log.
log. Yeah.
Is the log version, I
Mm,
think.
mhm.
Anyway,
Take
maybe
that,
not.
ChatGPT.
But
Bastards.
yeah, like and it's just a continuation of all these application
Yeah,
specific ICs. This is
yeah,
why DigiKey and Mouser and all the others have 500,000 different devices. Because
yeah,
there's an
that's right.
application specific part for everything. They just keep coming out with it. This is why back in the days of Maxim, right? Maxim had
Yeah,
to
right.
release a new data book every 2 months or something because
That's
they
right.
came out
Yep,
with 200 new application specific chips,
yep.
right? It's just, yeah.
It's crazy. Yep,
And so it's
yep,
just
exactly.
continuation of that. I don't see anything different. Sorry. It's just, it's been around forever.
No, no, I mean, you're right. It is no different. I'm just saying, what is it today, right? So like,
Oh, today it's
where are the lines today, right? So another
the,
example. So I'm staring at my desk, right? So right now, a lot of like machine learning, tiny modules, tiny ML machine learning, and tiny machine learning is like a thing that you can go and like train a model
right. Yeah. Yeah. For a
using
very
like
specific robot
for
task or
like a
something.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Or what you can do is you can go and buy. So I got to meet Pete Warden, the guy from Useful Sensors, and they sell this thing called the person sensor, and it's a camera and it's a chip on the back and it's got I squared C output and it just spits out whether there's a person in the frame or not. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. Right.
yes,
You're
that
right.
is what I
Yeah.
need.
That's exactly what you want. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So that'll be in a future design of mine. I'm excited
Right.
about that. But like that's the same thing where it's like
Yeah.
that 30 years ago would have been
Oh, that was an entire
years of work.
design
It's
team
a
for
PhD
years.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
multiple
Yeah.
PhDs and
Yeah.
whatever. 10 years ago, it's still difficult, but
Yeah.
becoming more accessible. But today, it's buy a person sensor and stick it on your product. It's got a quick header on it. It's like
Yeah.
super simple. Like, that's
Well,
amazing.
I can remember back in 1994 when I worked at KeyCorp, or was it 95?
Mm,
Right? We worked on, we had a box that would convert a computer's VGA output to an LCD screen, right?
mm,
So people
yep.
take it for granted these days that you buy your LCD monitor, right? And it has a VGA input and everything else, right? They just take it for granted. Well, back then,
Uh,
the
uh,
box to what?
these days, it's kind of tough to find VGA input,
Well,
Dave.
yeah, but you know what I mean, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
the box to do it was enormous. It was the size of a pizza
Yeah.
box. So we actually called it the pizza box because it was
Mm,
physically the size of a pizza box, massive board, had, chock full of, it had like 100 chips on the damn thing just to
sure.
convert
Sure.
640 by 480 VGA into drive an
Oh,
LCD,
yeah.
right? Just to
Low
sample
def.
that and re-encode it and drive you know,
Yeah.
a parallel LCD back then, right?
Totally.
It was
Right.
like, yeah, but whereas
Spewing
now
noise in the
it's a single
atmosphere.
chip.
Yeah.
Now it's just a single chip. You just buy it, and there's little converter boards that just do it, and like,
Yeah. Totally.
it's nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, whereas
Yeah.
we were probably like 2 years too early on that, right? That was the early,
I see.
like, a few years after that, it was like, well, everyone's doing this now. Here's a
Yeah. Yeah.
Winbond or somebody did a chip to
Yeah.
just
Right.
do the whole
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yep. I
Yeah.
did see an art. I didn't put it on the. Or maybe it was on the list. I don't
Don't
know where.
don't be ahead of the curve, people. You guys
That's right.
just wait a
No,
couple
you
of
can be
years.
ahead of the like. No, that's the thing. If you are ahead of the curve, that's when you get paid. That's what I mean. Like
Right, okay.
being ahead of the curve, that's you paid. But I think what happens then is on the other side, there is another side of the curve as well, where once it falls out of favor, and so this is what's happening now as well. I don't think it was on our list, but I saw that the chipsets that go into car radios no longer have AM tuning in it. And
Oh,
so
right,
you
okay.
can no longer
Alright.
get AM
Yeah,
radio in a lot of cars. And it's like, so now there's going to be a secondary market for either like devices
AM chips,
or
yeah.
AM chips, right? Because there are still AM
Oh,
transmitters a lot of
was it the
places.
AM 510? Am I?
I
No,
don't know.
I've got that wrong. What was the
I
AM
just think
chip
about
back in the
there's
old
a
days?
bunch of like cheapo AM FM, like all in ones. That's just basically again you plop it on your board, antenna input,
Yep.
audio output sort of thing. And I think even it's like PCM or like I2S output.
The MK484 is one of them.
MK484.
It's an AM radio receiver in a TO92 package.
Oh, I think they're a little past that, but
Yep. Anyway, there it is. 80 cents at JCar.
nice.
The MK4 AM radio receiver, literally in a 3-pin TO220.
Right.
Sorry,
Yeah.
TO92 package. That's just brilliant. That's great.
Yeah.
Chip of the week.
I think that's chip of the week. Yeah, sure.
Stable operation operates down to 1.1 volts. You can operate from a single
Wow.
bloody cell.
Who would ever go that low? Who would ever go that low? It doesn't make any sense.
Man. Great.
Yeah. Well, we got a little off from where I was figuring we'd go with this, but I do think yeah. Yeah. I'm curious, like, if people think there's other optimizations out there. I'm just generally curious about this because, again, I've been building cellular stuff, and I think about like most people get a cellular thing on the bench, and they're like, okay, I got to get the data cost down, I got to get the power down, and I've got to get what was the third thing? The cost down, and the cost down is pretty tough, but because cell modems are generally pretty expensive, but you could switch modems. But that's going to keep dropping, right? I mean, that's part of what it is. So you could try and get ahead of the curve and maybe do chip down yourself. That's how. So like you think about that sort of thing too, right? If you have a cell modem, most of the time you're buying a module it's got a big metal can on it. Somebody has done all the testing. You could get ahead of the curve a little bit by doing chip down, doing all your RF testing. If you had enough volume, it might make a lot of sense. But most people aren't willing to do that sort of thing. But that's how you get ahead of the curve on the cost basis sometimes.
Right.
Yep. All right, that's all for me.
Yeah. No, sorry.
Visit Dave. I mean, you're right. It's not that different, but I'm just saying I've been thinking about it, so that's why I brought it up.
Okay, fair enough.
What have you been thinking about, man?
Not much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's what happens, folks. These YouTubers, they're just kicking back, enjoying their profits, and
right, yeah,
hanging out in forums.
Yep. Boy, come on, there's got to be something on the list.
Oh, there's definitely stuff on the list. Let's see. This one's good as well. Powering a Nixie tube. So from a USB with a 10-cent RISC-V. This is Charles Lohr, CN Lohr on YouTube.
Nice.
Amazing video. Wait, no, sorry. This one, is this? Yeah, this is Charles. Yeah. So basically, he actually references your video as a.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I did a whole series on doing the designing the Nixie tube counter.
Oh, he's actually talking about the CH32V003.
Oh, okay. Oh, that one. Okay. Yeah. Well,
basically where Dave went through the dev tools. Yeah. But this is actually another good example of where we're talking about there. So you and I bought this chip, and you went and did the off-the-shelf tools, and I'm like, I'm going to wait around for someone else to write tools, and
right.
Charles now has a tool set that he built around this. So
nice.
If you want, you can go and do what's it called? CH32V003 Fun. There's now like this library that helps you to develop for these 10-cent RISC-V chips. So that's something people can go check out.
Yep.
And the build's really awesome. And spoiler,
are they available in volume now? Because they were when I did my video.
Yeah, they were hard to get.
Right. Yeah, they were a bit hard.
I've seen mixed reports. Nothing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Spoiler: Charles will also be on the show soon.
Oh, excellent. Well, we've had two former guests. We've had Ben Jordan and Bill Hurd.
Right now.
And they
and Eric as well. Eric's also been on the show.
Oh yes,
Eric.
yes, he has. Yeah, so I was they've done they didn't streamed interview talk. I was actually invited to a vintage computer conference in San Jose, which is coming up.
Oh really?
In August, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. So, yep.
What's the
that would
the
be
VCF?
Really cool.
There's Vintage Computing Festival.
Yeah,
there's like
everywhere.
a West and an East.
Oh yeah,
is there?
Oh, there's
I don't know
tons
what
of
the big
them,
one is though. I think East is the one that I usually hear about in Virginia or something.
Anyway, there's one in San Jose at the Computer History Museum in August.
That's fun.
Yep. August 8th
or
something
nice.
like that. Yeah, it'd be nice to go to.
When's the next time Dave is touching down on American soil, though? I heard you're not allowed from the State Department. Is that true?
No, I'm allowed. I can come in.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yep.
You want to check with your local embassy.
Anyway, they've already got me fingerprinted, the bastards.
Yeah, and everybody. It sucks.
Yeah.
Everybody who comes in the country now. It's crazy.
It was that way 20 years ago. I was getting
Was it?
fingerprinted. Yeah, I was getting fingerprinted 20 years
you, I
ago
mean,
going to the
come on.
States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, it's been around a long time. Jeez.
Disreputable Aussies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's new on the forum?
Oh, well, I can look, I can call up the new reply. Oh, no, I can call up the unread replies since last post, and people are still talking about pick and place machines. They're still talking about the Neodens. They're still talking about hacking the Rigol scopes. They're still talking about, like
The same old, same old. Yep. Yeah.
Yep. I think that has been getting a lot of views for me lately. In fact, it's standing out is like just cheap ass tools. Like,
Oh, you mentioned this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said you were going to do kind of cheap stuff over other stuff, right? Like,
No,
you were gonna do
I
super
didn't
high-end.
necessarily say that, but like that's where the views are. I mean, if I look at my last 20 videos, the largest number of views have been just actually reviewing cheap stuff. It's like
what's the last cheap thing you did? It was it was the scope
the
meter thingy,
Zotac.
right?
It was the Zotac
Yeah.
ZT702S
I
oscilloscope
think that's kind of
multimeter.
interesting too, because that's like an optimization.
Yeah, it's
but,
like it's only available for $80, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
You might even be able to get
it
it
was
cheaper
cool.
than that.
But
You
it
know,
had
it's
it had a
okay.
bunch of like weird stuff, like weird issues, not
Oh yeah, but
necessarily
nothing.
showstoppers.
Like
I just remember I was watching that. Oh, that's right, because I was watching that and I was thinking about the first round of contextual electronics I did. I told people to buy this like breadboard scope, which was a total bust, built on top of like an Atmega.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
they tried, but it was, it was like maybe 20 kilohertz bandwidth. It was just like
I get
really
that all
not,
the time. Like, should I buy this little $50 pocket oscilloscope? And I'm going, just no, just no.
But I watched this thing, the review did, and like that would have been okay. Like if you can get to a megahertz and you can have multifunction like that, okay, like that's not bad. I don't know. It is tough at the bottom of the market, I think. And like, sorry, there's another edit. All the boards on my desk falling off.
No, that's great. Keep it in.
Yeah. Like you and I are, men of means. We are further along in our careers, and a $400 scope doesn't sound like a lot, right? It actually sounds kind of affordable. But it's to a student, it's like $400 scope. Are you serious? And I need other stuff too. Like, it's like it's tough to like put a whole lab together, especially when you're starting from scratch.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't even give away oscilloscopes.
When
I did my Keysight draw, right?
Oh,
I gave away 5 scopes. Only 3 people actually replied. Other 2 people didn't want it. They just didn't get back to me. It's like, what? What? Seriously?
Maybe people just don't check. You know what you should do? You should start asking for mobile numbers instead of emails. I bet that would work.
Yeah.
I bet that would have a 100% hit rate, because it's, Dave, kids these days, they just don't check their email, including myself. I stopped checking my email a lot. So
anyway, unbelievable.
2 months from now, they're gonna be like, "Oh crap, I could add a free scope."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's tough. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. I did discover a new fandom. I discovered, because when you start talking about low cost tools, the lower cost tool, the more rabid the fan base. There has to be a name for this law.
Dolphin thingy?
No, dolphin.
Have you seen the dolphin? We'll come back to that. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, dolphin. No. Okay. No.
Sorry,
I'm
flipper.
talking about
the flipper. Flipper zero.
Oh, the flipper. I have got a flipper now.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, so I've got a flipper zero. Yep. It's
the
like
dolphin is the logo. That's what it is. Okay, I'm not a total idiot.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, I don't see the attraction to it. It's like, I don't know. Like it couldn't even do any of my garage door keys because they're all rolling encoded or whatever. Like they just can't do them, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where
the petrol cap on a Tesla.
It's cheap enough. And then
it's not. It's like $300. It's not cheap.
It's cheap enough. That's cheap enough as a hacking device. That's cheap.
It's cheap.
Right?
Okay.
And then some stuff does work. But I think the thing is, most people are not willing. Like any kind of new vulnerability comes up or new things discovered, people then do patches for their equipment, and they're like, Okay, well then this is like the physical incarnation of like script kiddieing,
Yeah,
so like if
right.
I can't, if you have to go program it yourself, that's tough. That's a
Yeah,
tough
yeah, yeah,
thing.
right.
That's
Yeah, 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 of
that's
course.
an
Yeah.
optimization. And
Yeah, of
like,
course.
but like,
Yep.
you know, but
Yep.
if you could just download it, then there are some things you could, that's like what people want to do. They want to buy it and have this like this magical
Mm.
hacking tool. Well, sorry
Yeah,
folks, you have to
yeah,
actually do work.
it's not that magical. Yeah,
Right,
like it's
right,
great. Like it can do some cool
right.
stuff, but like
Well, the hardware in it
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
flexible, and
yeah,
that's what you really need.
yeah.
But if you have to write that, this is like I bought a hack RF, and I'm like, oh yeah, I have to like know how to use
You
this
have to
thing.
actually do stuff to
Like
make it
you have
work.
to
Yeah, yeah,
actually know how to use it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, right.
And then know the limits of that.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, okay. And then I actually
yeah.
have a use case where I'm not like doing research or trying to do malevolent
Right,
stuff.
right. Yes, you got to spend a lot of hours at it. Yeah, you don't,
Yes,
you
that's
know,
right. Right.
count the time invested. Anyway,
All right. So rabid fan base of what
rabid
low cost
fan
is.
base, which increases with the drop in price. So it's an inverse relationship of
Sure, sure.
rabid
Oh,
fan baseness
you didn't have a
versus
specific example,
full
or do
time.
you have
Oh yeah, I got a
examples?
specific
Okay.
example.
Okay.
I
Hit me.
actually I think I don't know if this is the most recent one I did, but the cheapest tool I did do it recently, which is the Furcy HS01 USB portable soldering iron. Right, so I actually did
Oh,
a
yep.
review video of that. Right, it's like $30, and I thought
Yep.
this is pretty cool. It works. It's $30. It's reasonable build quality, everything else, right? And then,
Yep.
oh no, entire comment section flooded with the Pine 64. You got to have the Pine 64. So all
Oh.
of the TS100 fanboys, and I thought they were rabid, right? They've all moved over to this Pine 64, which is like an open
Ah.
source version of the
Yes. So
TS100.
yeah, and so they make Pine 64 makes RISC-V chips and like beefy RISC-V chips, like really
Right.
significantly like
Yep.
serious stuff. All right. So I
Anyway,
didn't really. So,
the Pine 64, and they go, don't you know it's only $23? And it's the duck's guts. And it's like, yeah,
wow.
okay,
Okay.
dude, thanks for telling me.
I mean,
And
I can
my
see the
comment
open
section
source
was just
thing.
flooded with it.
So is
Like
this the Pine Sol? Is that what you're really talking about?
the Pine Sol, sorry, yes.
Pine Sol.
Sorry, yes,
Okay,
the company is Pine 64, I think.
that's right.
Yes.
Yes.
And
So
yeah, it's
basically,
the
they're
Pine
just
Sol.
buying the exact same hardware and then changing the chip or the board. It looks like the exact same hardware that you
Oh,
reviewed.
it's slightly different to the TS100, but it's similar.
Okay.
I don't know
Oh,
the
I went to not
difference.
to the TS100 with that $30 one you're talking about.
Oh,
It
right.
looked like the
Okay.
same
Right.
tips,
Yeah.
like the same resistive tips that you're driving.
No, it
Yeah.
has different. Sorry, does
Um,
it have the same tips? I don't know.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't.
yes, yes,
I
similar.
did watch your
Yeah,
video.
right.
Something I can't always say, but
Yep. No,
that's pretty cool.
I think they're the Heiko
Yeah.
TS12 or whatever tips. Yeah.
Pine. So the Pine stuff is interesting. I mean, like and like I said, the board. I forget what the boards I bought, but it was like the Buffalo chip Pine H64. Oh man, they got a lot of
Right. Yeah, they
lot.
got wearable stuff. They got Internet of Things. They've got tablets. They've got smartphones. They've got a Pine phone.
Right.
You
They
can get
have
a
a
Pine phone,
Raspberry Pi
Pine book.
uh
They've got a
yeah,
laptop.
tablets. What did I buy?
God.
Was this that? Maybe I'm thinking of a different thing. Oh, I'm
Anyway,
gonna
I'm
sound
looking
stupid
through
now.
their I'm just looking through their website now, and holy crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. They make a
Yeah.
smartphone. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
What am I
Great.
thinking of? Maybe I'm thinking of something completely different. This looks like this is tied to Rock 64 too. I don't know. All these names. I'm not a fan, Dave.
Right.
But it does look like they're putting a lot of like basically they're going into OEM shops and then just making a slightly better version that might be open source. So like
Right.
like the stuff that's in the molding is very similar to other products that you can get on the market in China, right? You can just go and like
Mhm.
line up with that sort of thing, but then customizing it on some level, ostensibly on the circuit boards.
Anyway, it's cool. Okay. Yeah, fine. Pine Sol.
I don't even
Soldering
know what
iron
I
of the
bought.
week.
Pine Store. I did order something from the Pine Store. What the
Oh,
hell
there you
did I
go.
order?
You did? You must have ordered like
Apparently,
a
I'm searching my email.
single board
Yeah, it was a
computer or
single board
something?
computer. Yeah,
Yep.
it was
Was
the
it the OX 64? The Star
OX. Yeah, the
64?
OX 64. That's what it
Yep.
is. Yep.
That's
I
what
didn't
it is.
realize the name. I thought the name of it was the Pine thing.
Oh, okay. Right.
Ox
Yeah. They just got a ton
Ox
of stuff.
64. I
Anyway.
mean, like look at this thing though. Like seriously beefy, right? So this is actually like a crossover chip, I think.
It's
that right? Yeah, it's a
128
crossover.
meg thing for
So it's got
$8.
an 802.15.4 because it can do Zigbee. It's got Bluetooth. It's got Wi-Fi. It's got a camera interface. It's got
Yep.
two RISC-32s and a RISC-64 core in
Yeah.
there.
Nuts, right?
164 megabit. Is that right? Yeah, 16 megabyte flash. And so pretty sure it's like a crossover chip. I haven't done anything with it. That's the thing. Like I buy these cheap ass boards
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
what am I doing with this thing?
Yep. I've got a tub
But
full of cheap
right,
ass yeah,
right.
dev boards.
But this thing is a
Yeah.
beast. I mean, like, and it's all RISC-V as well. So that's pretty cool.
Crazy.
Yep.
Ah, boy. Too many options these days. I
There
don't like
are.
options. Options make
I
my
know.
life hard.
So
I
I have
just want
a
to.
thread I think I've mentioned a couple times on here, on my consulting forum about like my learning goals. And I think the advice that kept coming back to me, which I think is very, very important, is like you gotta have a project. Gotta have a project. Obviously you talk about that too, right? And I've just gotta have I don't know though, like every time I think of like a new project, it seems trite to me. Like I'm like, oh, I could just go buy that thing. But like
Right.
that's what
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
to get
Of
over. I
course.
need to get over that like I could just go buy it. Of course you can go buy it. You can go buy anything, right? But you need to
Yep.
do it just because I want to do it. And that's
Exactly.
where I'm struggling. I'm not sure what I need. I don't need anything enough. There's not anything that I need to optimize enough that I'm like,
Sure.
oh, I should go build that.
Yep. Yep.
So I asked ChatGPT today, and it didn't help me. I'll be honest, it
It
didn't help
didn't
me.
help you.
It didn't help me.
Your personal therapist couldn't help you. Okay.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That guy is kind of useless. I don't want to be mean, but kind of useless. I don't know what to do though. Yeah,
Ask
what did I
another.
ask?
Ask
Ask a
Bing.
human?
Ask Bing AI or something.
Yeah, oh, ask a different AI. I guess I should
Yeah.
just ask
Ask a
humans.
different
I don't
AI
know. Dave, what should I
until
build?
you get the
What
response
should
you
I build?
want.
I don't know. Like all of the things that I asked, like I was asking all these things that suggest too. I'm just like, GPS tracker, digital weather station, smart garage door opener, e-ink display reader, smart mirror, drone, handheld gaming device. Like
Are
I don't
these
need
the
any of this stuff
examples
in
it
my
gave
life.
you?
These are the examples it gave me. And that's the
Ah,
thing. It's just like processing, like probably like
yeah,
it
yeah,
went to Hackster.io and it's like crawling those, and these are
yeah.
popular products. Like totally good thing, but I just don't need any of this stuff in my
No,
life.
exactly.
Like home security system. Well, no. Digital thermostat, no. Fitness tracker, no. Bluetooth speaker, like the thing that I need least in my life is a Bluetooth speaker. Solar
Right.
tracker, smart light switch,
Yeah.
automatic pet feeder, no pets, home automation system, wearable health. I just don't need anything these things, Dave. I don't know what I need. I don't need anything technological. That's the thing.
You
What
need
do
to
I
go
need?
bush.
What do I need? Yeah, I mean, what do I need? I don't need anything.
You need to get outside and touch grass. That's what you need.
I did that today, Dave. And you know
Oh,
what?
excellent. What?
It didn't give me a goddamn idea.
All
I still
right.
don't know what
Damn
to
it.
build.
Yeah, but it's the act of touching the grass in itself that is
Don't try and get all zen
fulfilling
on me.
part.
Don't try
Come
and get all
on.
zen on me. You're not.
Oh
Yeah.
boy. Yeah.
I do think it's a key part, right? It is a key part to have like something that's driving you. There's something you think you need to build instead of buy.
Yeah.
I can just buy all this stuff though,
I
I don't
know.
know.
Yeah, I know. We're just getting lazy in our old age as our years get shorter and shorter. We
Well, the
just
other
have
thing
less
too is
time and effort to
I'm
invest.
no, here's the thing. I build reference designs for a living. Like this is what I
Yeah, but you're
do.
getting
They're
paid. Some schmuck's
contrived.
paying you to
I
do
get
that.
paid. I get paid. That's right. And so now I'm like trying to come up with a thing for myself, and I'm like, hey, who's gonna pay me? You know?
I'm going to take some of that money that some schmuck paid me to then go buy
I
the
mean, that's
things that
kind
I
of what I
want.
think about. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
there's that. Yeah, I could go buy it, right? But then
Mhm.
it's also like, well, maybe I should just do a consulting project instead. Like find someone who needs me
Right.
to build something. I don't know. I don't know, Dave.
Yeah, life's too
Anywho,
hard.
I'm gonna keep learning regardless.
Right.
But the search for a project continues. I think the other thing too is I don't have any other hobbies that actually need this stuff. Like my hobbies are
Right.
like
Yeah, yeah.
learning Spanish,
Yep.
playing piano. Like no
Yep.
electronics there.
Mm.
No electronics in those at all.
And some things
No
I just don't
electronic
need an
books.
electronic product for. Like on my second channel, I just did a mailbag
Mhm.
unboxing and test of one of these e-scooter things, right?
Mm.
Because they
Yeah,
sent it to
yeah,
me, like,
yeah.
and it turned up in the mailbag. It's like, well, okay. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, okay, it's fun, but no, I'd rather ride my push bike because I actually get
Right, you get some
exercise, you know?
exercise.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
Doing the same task, you know?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah. Also, I see a lot of schmucks that, wipe out. I just saw someone wipe out tonight, on the
all right,
sidewalk.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Good
brilliant.
luck with that, folks. Yeah.
Oh, well, they're banned here anyway, so, you know.
Are they? Oh, that's
Yeah.
probably the right move. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, boy. Yep. Anyway, I'll
What are you
just
gonna do with the
continue.
scooter now?
No
So you
idea.
got the scooter.
I can just ride around the underground car park, you know? The kids can play on it or something. I don't
I guess.
know. Yeah.
Huh,
No.
yeah.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Um, I mentioned last week about the beeping buzzer sound. Did I 2 weeks ago?
Beeping
That
buzzer
video's
sound?
up now. I recorded a video finally of me. I mentioned I have I recorded the Mario theme, or like I put it onto a buzzer.
Oh, right.
Remember we
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
about buzzer
Right.
versus
Yep.
piezoelectric?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's
Got
available
it.
now if people want to hear it. So
Cool.
what was the thing said about Flipper Zero? So you have one and you've tried it and it doesn't work, or it's not worth it?
It does work, but it doesn't do things like my garage door
Oh,
remote, my
garage
car
door.
remote,
Oh, right,
like
right,
because
right.
these are like encrypted rolling code things, and it's not some magic hacking tool that just bypasses all that. No,
Right, right, right.
right? It just
Yeah, even in
like
Mr.
I can
Robot, someone
see it. It's
programmed the
got
damn thing.
it's really cool. Like it's got a spectrum analyzer on it, right? So you can see
That's
what
cool.
frequency it's transmitting at and everything, right? And you can
Yeah.
actually record it, I think. So you can record the thing but you can't replay it. Well, you could record it and replay it, but there's no
Mm,
point because it doesn't have the encoding for
yeah.
the to do the rolling secure code thing. So it doesn't, you know. Anyway,
Yeah, it kind
eh.
of looks like oh man, there's a lot of YouTube videos about this thing. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
I basically got caught up in the flipper hype. So I ordered it months ago and it
Yeah,
took months to get here or something.
got it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff.
Yep.
There's a lot of videos here.
And
This
then
is
I
probably not
thought,
for
oh
me.
yeah, I can open someone's Tesla door cap, fuel cap with it, right?
Mm.
Charge import cap, fuel cap,
Oh,
charge
okay,
import
sure.
cap, right? And then so I went through all the libraries and stuff. And once again, it's not one of these like you've got to try and find someone on some forum somewhere who's actually written
Oh,
the
it's like on
script.
a
And I
GitHub.
couldn't find the
Yeah.
Australian Teslas because apparently they're different to the US, which is different to the
Oh,
UK, which is
interesting.
different to Europe, which is different to blah blah blah, right?
Right,
So I
right.
couldn't find the Aussie. So if somebody knows where I can download the Aussie Tesla thing, I can go around and flip Tesla doors on it. But you know, yay.
Woo!
Woo!
It kind of looks like the. Did you ever see
Yeah.
that? I forget what the name of it was. It was like basically like an I am me. That's what it was.
Mm.
We had like all the security people on. We should have more security people on the show. We haven't had them on in a while. But like, the I am me was like this. It was like this pink texting toy, basically, where it was like over 900 megahertz. Do you
Right.
remember that thing?
I
I think
think
this
so,
must be
yeah.
this is like the natural inheritor of that thing. So I remember
Right.
like Travis Goodspeed had one, and I think Mike Osman might have had one. I saw him at a couple conferences and stuff like that, but
Mm.
they stuck out because they were like this like super bright like
Yeah,
Pepto
right.
Bismol pink plastic. It was
Yep.
great. And then I think this is like the natural inheritor
Evolution of
that
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the same
Right.
chipset. I think it's like the
Okay.
same
Right.
analog front end or like
Yep.
RF front end on it as well.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I do want to take it to like a local shopping center or something, and then use it to turn off TVs and stuff like that. You know, like go into a TV shop and just blast with the infrared remote control. Apparently, it's got the universal TV be gone kind of codes
Got
in
it.
it, so it'll cycle through 200 different manufacturers' codes of off, so you can just turn
Mhm.
off every TV or something. Apparently, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mischief managed.
Yeah. I don't know if I should record that or not. You know, if I should actually take a hidden camera and like film me
Hidden
switching
camera.
off, you know.
If only you had Google Glass, Dave. You could
Right.
smart
Yeah.
glasses, right?
Yeah.
Recording glasses. You should get
Oh,
some of
boy.
those. Get some of those.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
Well,
sure they're developing a new version right now.
right now. Yep. Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah. It'll have AI in it. It'll have a chat GPT interface. That'll be the new
That's right.
thing.
Right. Except they'll call it AEYE AI. All right, we should
Okay.
probably stop recording now. What do you think?
Yeah, we're done. Catch you next
Okay.
time.
Bye.